Do you practice much? Do you sit at home shredding along to Ride the Lightning by Metallica or anything?
No. You know, I can do what I do. I only played lead in Oasis because no one else could do it, and Bonehead was bald, and that would have been fucking preposterous.
My name is John Doran and I write about music. This is a new series of British masters for Noisy. In the last series I interviewed such luminaries as Brian Ferry, Johnny Marr and John Lydon. In this series I will be interviewing other notable figures from the field of popular music. At first it might not be immediately obvious what links these characters other than the fact that they all feature heavily in my record collection. But as the series progresses, I hope it will become clear that all of these disparate figures are outliers in their field. Today I am talking to Noel Gallagher, who rose to unshakable prominence with Oasis, one of the biggest rock groups the world has ever produced. Noel Gallagher is today what he was right from the start, a bona fide rock and roll star. It's my pleasure to introduce Noel Gallagher. Hi.
Hello.
If I was a gambling man, I would lay money on Chasing Yesterday being your 9th successive platinum selling record. I mean, it's comfortably on the way to doing that already. Don't you pass a point where you think, do you know what, I've kind of made my point with rock music? Does it never occur to you to say, I think I'm going to go and spend 2 years in Indonesia studying gamelan, or I'm going to start releasing anonymous grime records or whatever?
If you're a songwriter or a composer, you're kind of in it for life. I enjoy the writing, although it can be very frustrating when it's not happening, but I do enjoy that. I genuinely don't know what I would do. Some
people in some quarters give you stick for being like a formulaic songwriter, but I'd say Chasing Yesterday's kind of progressive, really, isn't it?
Well,
relatively speaking.
What does that mean anyway? What does it mean? And who are some people? The Guardian? Who gives a fuck about the Guardian? Well, everybody's got an opinion anyway. Do you know what I mean? But I don't really think about it too much. If it sounds good to me, I put it out there. I'm not begging people to come and see me or buy it or anything like that. If my audience, if such a thing exists, gets it, that's great. And if they don't, that's great too. You know what I mean? I kind of like it.
But you know what? That's exactly what I did think when I heard Chasing Yesterday. I did think, fucking hell, The Right Stuff is amazing. And I think that's like one of the best songs you've ever written. I think it's better than anything off, like, What's the Story?
I agree, it's as far away from Supersonic as you're ever going to get. You know, I suppose if you listen to one after the other, you would think, well, is that the same songwriter? But if you've kind of been doing it for 20 odd years, It's just the next logical thing. Now, people have said to me since that, oh wow, I can't wait to hear your next record. And I was like, well, why? You know, I haven't written it yet. And they're like, well, it sounds like you're going. And it's like, don't fucking get, but I don't get bogged down in where it might be going, you know what I mean? It's all about the songs. You know, it's all about the songs. If the songs are good, the vibe of it, I'm not interested in the vibe, you know what I mean?
So you worked with Johnny Marr on The Ballad of Mighty Eye, which is a great track, but obviously he's been a supporter of you and Oasis since day one, hasn't he? How did you meet him originally?
Well, I met him through this lad I always used to see at the Hacienda. I never knew his name. It was just a lad I was on nodding terms with. I bumped into him one day when I was coming back from HMV, and I just bought There's album, Dusk, and I bumped into him in the street. And that's the first time I'd ever seen him outside of the Hacienda. And we chatted away about things, and I obviously had an HMV bag. And he said, oh, my kid plays on that. And I was like, who's your kid? And he said, oh, Johnny. And I was like, wow. And then he got to that I was in a band called Oasis, and he said, oh, give us your demo tape, and I'll play it to our kid. I must have gone home and got it for him, and then about 2 hours later he called me. Johnny Marr called me on my phone. And he was the first person to ever get it out of the 5 people in the band and the 5 people who hung around the band. And I remember on the second night that I met him, he took us out for a Japanese meal, him and his missus Ange. I'd never had a Japanese meal before. And we went back to his house, his fucking massive house in South Manchester. And it was just great. And then it was a funny thing, because the very next day, we had a gig in Glasgow, and it was the gig at King Tut's.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then the day after that, it was my birthday, so that was a fucking good weekend.
Yeah. I was thinking about this on the way down here, and I was thinking, like, one of the earliest songs by you lot as Oasis that I've heard is your cover of Cartouche Feel the Groove.
Better Let You Know, is it?
So, like, you know, for people who don't know that, it's like essentially like a kind of Oasis, kind of shoegazy cover of a house song, which was popular at the Hacienda, wasn't it? Were you kind of into house music?
Fucking hell, I've just been listening to it today. It drive my neighbours fucking mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. When the acid house thing started in '87, it fucking blew my mind. And it continues to do so, it's great.
What was your first pill like? Did it?
Little Yellow New York, yeah, it's great, yeah. Not as good as my last one.
So, like, in the modern kind of popular music environment, like the guitar solo, it's almost something of an anachronism these days. You know, you don't hear them that often, especially on the radio or whatever. And of course, your record's peppered with them. What to you is like the perfect guitar solo? What's the one that you really wish you'd written it?
Comfortably Numb is by far and away one of the greatest guitar solos of all time. Saying that, you got to go something to beat Jimmy Page's riffs. I mean, to come up with the best riff of all time in A Whole Lot of Love is something else, and then that guitar solo in Stairway to Heaven is great. But I don't really get hung up on guitar solos. There's some great ones on my record. I would hazard a guess, if you pulled out the great ones, it's not me playing them. I think there's 9 on the record. I might have played 3 out of the 9.
The last official bit of new music that Oasis released, as far as I'm aware anyway, was Falling Down, the monstrous psychedelic bubble mix done by the genius pair of producers, Amorphous Androgynous. Cahoots with them for a while, weren't you? Working on a space rock album, but I believe it's not coming out. What went wrong there?
It got finished. The album got finished. I spent a lot of time working on it, but the way that they work was to get me in and play all day, and then they would take it away. And then the next thing you'd hear, you'd just go, oh, well, that's not what I was thinking. Do you know what I mean? And it became apparent to me that they weren't making a record for me. I was making a record for them. Yeah. And if anybody who does know me, that's not going to fucking work.
Don't you think, though, that that album is going to end up being your Let It Be, Get Back tape? It's going to be your Smile. Do you not think that this is the album that people are going to be like, I've got to hear it, where's the bootleg of it?
Well, there is no bootleg because I own the master and I destroyed it.
Really?
Yeah. My manager's not even heard it. I wouldn't play it to them. It was so underwhelming to me that I just couldn't, I've never played it to anybody. I'm not gonna put records out to please people and their imagination, and then you hear it and go, actually, it is a bit shit. It's like, I know it's shit, you know, so it's not coming out, and that's the end of it.
So in 30 years' time, you're not going to be at the Royal Albert Hall with your feet in a box of sand at the piano, Amorphous Androgynous coming on stage on Zimmer frames?
I wouldn't have thought so. In 30 years' time, I'll be 77. Fucking hell, please tell me I won't be fucking playing the Albert Hall at 77. Jesus.
What's the story behind Purple Parallelogram, the Evan Dando song?
Oh, as I recall it, we were just fucking around in an hotel room. Loads of us wrote that song.
Who else was there?
Liam, Bona, everyone that was on that tour. And I think we finished it off in the bar of the Columbia Hotel. And I know Evan, I've seen him recently, and he's a fucking great lad. But he kind of, when we'd written this song, we just thought we were messing around, just like lads playing guitars. The next thing, somebody sends us a finished version that he'd gone and recorded, and we were like, whoa, hang on a minute, fucking hell. If it was like cigarettes and alcohol, you know, it would have been great, but it was a bit shit.
Purple
Tell me more about this idea, this seemingly, you know, what would have been 20 years ago, this seemingly implausible idea that you and Damon Albarn might record an album together.
So we met up one night purely by chance and blah, blah, blah. Had a beer and was like, fucking hell, what's all that about? Fucking blah, 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 and all that. And then, as I would say to a friend of mine, next time you're not busy, we should go for a drink. It was like that. That was it. Turns out, he's quite a genial fellow, you know, as am I. So we get on all right. Be a cunt all you want, but let's do the gig first, and then be a fucking dick. His argument is, I'm just being a dick all the time. Do you know what I mean? And repeat endlessly until fucking 2009.
So, did you get the call from Kanye West, Madonna, that dickhead who wears the big weasel helmet? You know the guy I'm talking about, for Tidal, their new streaming service.
I don't sell enough records for that shite. I didn't watch it live. I've been on tour, so someone said, oh, have you seen this fucking thing? And then Alicia Keys is up there giving a speech which says like something out of the UN. You know what I mean? I just think this has got to be fucking bollocks. Nonsense. I'm not surprised nobody's fucking bothered with it.
I'm not going to get on and ask you loads of your celebrity mates questions or whatever, but I do have one, and I think it's pertinent to the. I think it's something that everyone wants to know. Who can drink the most, Morrissey, Bono, or Bobby Gillespie?
Bono.
Bono.
Hands down.
Thirsty guy, yeah.
Yeah, hands down. Fucking. Bobby don't drink. Morrissey's good fucking crack, man. He can drink. And doesn't really get drunk though, remains equally as vicious from the fucking minute you meet him till 7 hours later.
Nothing will temper him.
No, not in the slightest. I lighten up once I've had a drink.
Yeah.
Not Morrissey. No. But Bono is he's really, really fucking brilliant company. I mean, I've been drinking with him, and I've been leaving a bar at 6 a.m, and he's on the bar singing opera, and he's got a fucking gig the following night to like 70,000 people, and I'm being escorted out like James Brown, you know, fucking pissed, and he's got a gig the next night to fucking. You know.
Starting to understand the sunglasses a little bit more now. You know.
The sunglasses are good, man. Yeah, but he's good fun.
Do you wonder about how you're perceived in America? Because it's like really clear how people see you and have always seen you in this country. But do you know what do you think Americans think of Noel Gallagher?
Fuck knows. I don't know. I can tell you how they perceived Oasis. They fucking hated us over there for a long time. Particularly in the business itself. Rolling Stone hated us, MTV hated us, even our own record label fucking disowned us after about a year. They were used to dealing with corporate rock bands, you know what I mean, who turned up for shit. And I remember famously, me and our kid, they sent us to do the cover of Rolling Stone. After 40 minutes of them trying to get us to stand face to face on us, we weren't able to do it. We weren't able to look each other in the eye for more than 10 seconds. And in the end, we were just like, how long have we got here? Have we not got this shot yet? And they said, well, fucking, this is 8 hours, this photo shoot. I think Liam might have vomited and had a fucking mini stroke. 8 hours. And we were like, we're not staying here for fucking 8 hours. And they were like, it's 8 hours shoot. And the woman from our record label was going, we had you for 8 hours. And when she said those words, I don't think it lasted 8 minutes after that. Just like, we just fucking walked out. Like, 8 hours on a photo shoot? Fuck off. You know, actually, you're not the Rolling Stones. You know, it's just a fucking shitty magazine. And then when Liam didn't turn up for the MTV Unplugged thing, then it rapidly fucking went downhill after that.
Do you ever listen to something like, say, like Wibbling Rivalry or whatever? Do you recognise yourself as the young man when you hear stuff like that?
The band is about the fucking music,
exactly.
right? It's not about getting thrown off fucking ferries or about...
I've not said that.
Yeah, well, why don't you go downstairs and smash the bar up and say you're the singer of Oasis?
I don't know what if I did. If I was going to go down and smash the bar up, I'd do it and there's nothing...
So why don't you go and make a scene
because
then?
I'm not in that... I'm not fucking... You know what I mean?
You're not...
Alright, I'll be back in a minute, right?
Why don't you do a Keith Richards and throw the TV out the window?
The brawling and all that, as you'll probably be willing to accept, might have been blown out of all proportion by the sun and the mirror. Yeah, I recognise that guy. If I think back to it now, and I think I've heard it once. My argument is, be a cunt all you want, but let's do the gig first, and then be a fucking dick. His argument is, I'm just being a dick all the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? And repeat endlessly until fucking 2009. I remember countless gigs where, you know, 3 songs in, he'd just pop his fucking headphones out and just get off. So you'd be doing a guitar solo and you get to the end of the song and you think, oh, it's not that mad for him just to disappear during the guitar solo and not sing the rest of the song. Yeah. You know, he's obviously gone back to fix his sunglasses or something. And then you just go, where's Liam gone? Oh, he's got off. What do you mean he's got off? Got a sore throat. It's like, what a cunt, do you know what I mean? And you'd have to kind of go out and say in English to a load of perplexed Japanese people who were there kind of doing this. You'd say, okay, I know you don't understand what I'm fucking saying, but what's happened is the singer's got off and they're like, okay, all right, you don't get it. Right, so I'm going to have to sing the fucking, I'm going to have to sing the rest of the song. And then you start singing and they're all like, oh, I don't know, what the fuck's going on here? Where's the singer gone? But I could never forgive him for that, you know what I mean, ever.
I remember really, really clearly hearing the kind of single release version of Setting Sun, the song you did with Chemical Brothers for the first time. And not only did it blow me away, but when it got to #1, it was just like, this is the weirdest song that has ever been at #1.
Chris Evans refused to play it, which is such a fucking achievement.
Yeah, I would normally never agree with him about anything, but I remember I listened to that song on Magic Mushrooms once, and I was afraid of it for a few weeks afterwards as well. You know. You're the devil in me, I brought it from the cold. You said your body was young, but your mind was very old. That was a crazy song. I mean, how did it come about?
We were at a festival somewhere and Tim Burgess had just done a tune with them, and I might have said to them words to the effect of, what's he doing singing your fucking tunes? I'll do one better than him. And the ball started rolling from there, and they sent me the drums with that thing that just went meow. That was it. And I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? But I have to say, it's one of the, I'm as proud of that as I am of anything that I wrote with Oasis or continue to write now. I did the vocal in 2 takes. They famously tell the story that I arrived in a black cab and said to the taxi driver, this is a wait and return, mate, this won't take long. And he sat outside for 20 minutes, I went in and did it, and I said, well, I'm going to get off now. And they were like, what, fucking hell, what? Is that not you just warming up? I said, no, that's it. It's an interview with Noel Gallagher, and as naturally as day follows night, I'm contractually obliged to ask you, if the money was right and the schedules were clear and everyone was willing, would you get Tail Gunner back together for one last gig at the Camden Monarch? I was never deemed adequate enough to actually do a gig with Tail Gunner. They got someone else in to do the shows. But I'll play with fucking Mark Coyle any day of the week. And the bass player on that record was the guy that played the guitar solos on my album, Paul Stacey. I'd do it if the money was right, yeah. It might take tens of pounds, though, to get me to do it.
And whilst we're playing kind of fantasy football, would you ever play in the fall?
In the fall? No. No. Have you read Mark E. Smith's book?
Oh, yeah.
He told 3 stories about me in that book which are blatantly untrue.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I think I've met him once in my entire life, and there was these stories of me in a limousine in Manchester, and I was just thinking, I've never actually fucking met the guy. Do you know? I met him once in an hotel room in Los Angeles, and that was it. But being in the fall, no, I don't. Again, I wouldn't be deemed adequate enough to play in the fall, even though he is one of my heroes, Mark Smith. I fucking love him.
No, thanks very much.
Thank you very much, man.
Cheers.